Welcome to OOTO, the Out of the Office Investigation. I'm Michael. In a small but world-renowned corner of Mexico, a really dramatic policy shift is taking place. The Bahía de la Ventana region is cracking down hard on illegal labor with a zero-tolerance policy. It's creating this new reality where compliance, well, it isn't just a suggestion anymore, it's the absolute price of admission. We're going to examine what's happening and, more importantly, why. And it really all starts with this poster. It's not exactly subtle, is it? Warning, unauthorized workers, high risk to our region. This isn't just some flyer you'd ignore. It's a declaration, really, a fundamental change that frames unpermitted foreign labor as a direct threat. This one image, it just captures the core conflict perfectly. The line between participating in a community and, well, exploiting it. So you have to ask, what causes a community that's known for its laid-back, welcoming vibe to draw such a hard line in the sand? This wasn't some random decision. The official documents we've reviewed make it crystal clear. This whole enforcement model is a direct response to a danger the community believes isn't just serious, but existential. And there it is, right there in the official justification, an existential threat. Michael, when you see language like that in a government briefing, you know the stakes are incredibly high. It completely reframes the issue. This isn't about simple rule-breaking anymore. It's being presented as a fight for the very soul of the region. So what exactly is this threat? Well, this is how they break it down. That big, abstract idea of a threat gets very concrete with these three pillars. First, culture. The argument is that unpermitted labor displaces local Mexican workers, and that weakens the foundation of the ejidos. These are the communal landholding communities that are absolutely central to the region's identity. Second, safety. Illegal operators often work without any insurance or the required safety certifications. Just imagine a kite surfing lesson that goes wrong and there's no liability coverage. It's a huge risk for everyone. And third, the environment. They often just ignore conservation rules in really sensitive marine areas. So this isn't just about visas, it's about what's seen as the erosion of the community's cultural, physical, and ecological stability. Right, so in response to that perceived threat, the authorities didn't just, add a few more patrols on the beach. They built a coordinated, multi-agency framework with one single purpose: to completely dismantle the shadow economy that's apparently been operating there for years. And the official term for this new paradigm is active enforcement, and it's built on a principle of zero tolerance. This isn't about giving out warnings or second chances. The goal is to make the risk of operating illegally so incredibly high that it's just not a viable option anymore. It's a very clear signal that the era of looking the other way is definitively over. You're listening to OOTO with research by El Campesino. And here's how they're doing it. Previously, these 5 different agencies often worked in their own silos. Now they form this interconnected net. So the Labor Department checks safety, migration checks permits, and, this is critical, the port captain now cross-references their boat logs with immigration status. Meanwhile, the tax authority is auditing for cash payments. It's become a web of data sharing where if one agency doesn't catch you, it's very likely another one will. Okay, so now that we get the who and the why of the enforcement, let's get practical. What does a violation actually look like on the ground? What are the specific red flags that these now coordinated agencies are trained to spot immediately? And you can see here, the line between a legal and an illegal operator is not blurry at all. A legal operator is registered, they hold a proper work visa, they issue legal invoices, and they carry insurance. On the flip side, an illegal operator is typically paid in cash, works on a simple tourist visa, and operates completely off the books. So for an inspector, the difference is a simple matter of asking for paperwork that an illegal operator just doesn't have. And let's talk about this number, 90%. This is not some new local rule. This is Mexican federal labor law. It mandates that at least 90% of any company's workforce must be Mexican nationals. The sources we're looking at say this is now a critical red flag for inspectors. So if they walk into a wind sports school and see, say, 4 foreign instructors and only 1 Mexican employee, that business is an immediate violation. It's a simple mathematical check that's incredibly easy to enforce. Another key number is 40. Mexico has transitioned to a 40-hour maximum work week. Now, compliance with that law requires mandatory electronic time tracking logs. Unpermitted operators, of course, don't do this. This allows them to overwork staff and, crucially, undercut the legal businesses that are actually investing in the systems required to follow the law. This creates exactly the kind of unfair competition that fuels so much local resentment and really drives this push for enforcement. Now, this detail is fascinating from a psychological perspective. It's not just about paperwork, it's about showing respect for local identity. The historically accurate name for one of the key bays in the region is Ensenada de Muertos. Years ago, a now defunct developer tried to rebrand it as Bahía de los Sueños. Inspectors are now actually trained to see the use of the developer's name as a red flag. Why? Because it signals a disconnection from the local community, its history, and, by extension, its regulations. It suggests an operator who sees the place as a commodity, not a community they're a part of. Okay, so we have the rules, we have the red flags, but how does enforcement actually begin in such a sprawling area? Well, the strategy relies heavily on technology. They've implemented a system that effectively deputizes the entire community, turning them into the eyes and ears of the agencies. And this really is the crucial question, isn't it? An inspector can't be everywhere at once. So how does an investigation even get triggered? The answer, it turns out, lies not with the government, but with the people living and working there every single day, who now have a direct, anonymous line to the authorities. You're listening to OOTO with research by El Campesino, and this is the tool that makes it all possible. SeaCow. It's an official government whistleblowing portal. It's anonymous, it's digital, and it's designed specifically for reporting labor and tax violations. Now, in a small, tight-knit community, the threat of an anonymous report from a competitor or a disgruntled employee or just a concerned resident, that completely changes the risk calculus for an illegal operator. Suddenly, there's no longer anywhere to hide. And look at how simple and effective the process is. Step 1, a resident sees what they believe is unpermitted work. Step 2, they discreetly take a photo or a quick video with their phone. Step 3, they note the time, location, maybe a license plate. And Step 4, they upload it all anonymously through the SIQAL portal. The barrier to reporting is virtually zero, which means the volume of intelligence flowing to the authorities is potentially massive. So what happens after a report gets submitted and verified? This is where the consequences start to solidify, moving from being a temporary issue to becoming a permanent record. The information doesn't just go into a case file that gets closed, it feeds a permanent centralized database that has really long-term implications. Every single verified report leads to the creation of a file in what's called the Registry of Identified Offenders. I mean, the name alone tells you how serious this is. This is not a warning list, it is a formal designation. Once you are in this registry, you are officially on the radar of every single agency in that enforcement net we looked at earlier. And the level of detail they're collecting in this registry file is significant. It's not just a name. It includes high-resolution photos for identification. It has physical descriptions. And, critically, it contains verified local and international home addresses. They aren't just documenting who you are in Mexico, they're documenting who you are back home. And this becomes absolutely crucial for the final step in the enforcement chain. And this is really the climax of the entire enforcement strategy. The consequences don't stop at the local beach or even at the Mexican border. A violation that's documented in this small community is designed to trigger a formal international response that can have permanent, career-ending repercussions. Right. This slide just maps out the endgame. Once an individual is in the offender registry, the file is shared directly with that person's home country consulate, so they are officially informing a foreign government of their citizens' illegal activities. At the same time, the file goes to Mexico's Federal Immigration Authority, which then flags the individual's passport. The results? They're barred from re-entering Mexico potentially for years or maybe even permanently. And you can see, this is a layered, multifaceted punishment. It starts with immediate exclusion from work. Then come the fines, then a permanent ban from operating in the region. It can lead to a formal request for deportation if they're still in the country. And finally, the passport flag, which follows them wherever they go. The entire system is designed not just to stop the illegal activity, but to make it so costly that it acts as a powerful deterrent to anyone else even considering it. And that really brings us to our final and I think most provocative question. Is this the price of paradise? For a community that feels it's facing an existential threat to its culture, its safety, and its environment, this system of strict surveillance, community reporting, and severe international consequences is seen as a necessary defense. It's a deliberate choice to trade unregulated openness for controlled preservation.
Whether this level of enforcement is a sustainable solution or a step too far, that's the question this region is going to be answering for years to come.